Hey guys, I'm Stephanie, and this is Steph Stove, and today we're continuing on with our wonderful candy making for Christmas. But today we're doing an iconic candy, chocolate covered cherries. Really simple to make and very easy to put together. So let's get started. Let me show you how to do it. For this portion of the recipe, I am going to use my stand mixer. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, you absolutely could use just a hand mixer that would be just as good. It would just be a little bit more effort on your part. And to my mixer, we are going to add, this is 4 tablespoons or half of a stick of butter. And that butter is softened at room temperature. And then we are going to add, and we're going to add all of this at once. This is 3 cups of powdered sugar. My powdered sugar out. We're also going to add just a little bit of milk. So I'm going to add a tablespoon. This is regular milk. That we're going to add to it. And we are going to add some flavoring to it. So for this, I'm going to be using almond extract. And our almond extract, we're going to be needing about half of a teaspoon. Dry my measure off for my milk. And the good thing about this, the almond extract is clear. Ooh, gracious, did I smell it? It smelled delicious. All right, and now to this, I'm going to be using, this is just my regular paddle attachment, and this one that I have has the scraper attachment to it. If you don't have that attachment, you can definitely get one. I find it very useful when I'm doing anything like this where I want the sides scraped down. I'm going to use my splatter guard for this because I've got the powdered sugar in it and I don't want it going everywhere. So I'm going to start this on low and we're just going to blend this together until this section of the mixture kind of comes together and it's what I would call more uniform in consistency, size, and color. So we're going to let this go on low speed for just a few minutes until this is all incorporated. So I'm going to move over with our next step. Alrighty, let's move on. Ooh, gracious, it looks like our mixture's already come together nicely, so I'm actually going to stop it. It's pretty at the bottom. So let me show you what this looks like and we'll pause it. So see how that come together kind of very nicely. It's a uniform, very white color and it's all stuck together. So this is good. So I'm going to stop this right now. Set it back over there. And the next step for our cherries, obviously we need cherries. Now the ones I'm going to use, these are maraschino cherries. These are a sweet cherry. And I'm choosing to use the ones with the stem because they'll be much easier to dip. Now normally when I do this, it calls for 2 10-ounce jars, but I'm going to start with the first one. And you'll see the process that it'll go through. So careful when you open this because this bright red juice stains terribly. I always think of maraschino cherries. My mom always talked about, she used to keep these for pear salads and such when I was little. And she would always keep this little jar in the refrigerator. You know, because as we would use it, there'd be some left. And my brother and I would sneak in there. I would get in so much trouble wanting those maraschino cherries because that juice was so good and they were so sweet and we just loved them. And I remember my mom always said right before, you want these to drain well, right before my kindergarten graduation, my brother in his little fancy outfit to go to my graduation went in there and got some maraschino cherries and spilled them all down the front, obviously right when we were fixing to leave. So every time we have maraschino cherries, she always talks about that. Kind of those little funny memories there. Little children, you can kind of remember such. Now I'm going to shake these just for a second. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to dry these because you do want these somewhat dry. Be very careful because again, you can take the stems off. That's fine if you choose to. But I just do find that it's much easier to dip them with the stems on. So I'm going to invert this very carefully onto my paper towels here. Move that cherry juice to the side and set these little beauties here. So after they are here, we're going to kind of separate. And you want to see, like, if you have a broken one, you can set it to the side. You can munch on that. Now, if they're just kind of smashed a little bit, that one will probably be okay, but it's not going to be the prettiest one for this application. So you do want to pick through them, and you may have one like this that just didn't have a stem. We can still use him, but it just will be a little bit harder to dip. Now, we are going to come back and get our filling portion, and we're going to take about a teaspoon of this. I'm going to take my teaspoon and again get it about close to a teaspoon, because then we'll need the full size of it. So I'm going to mound it here and get it out, hopefully. And I'm going to make me a little ball, and then I'm going to flatten it kind of using the palm of my hand here, almost to be like a little disc shape. And you want it enough where you can cover the cherries. So if I take this and put it in the middle, and then you want the filling, the sugary filling, to go up and kind of envelop the cherry like that. And then you can roll it. Now, if it's not perfect, don't worry about it, because we're going to be dipping it as well. And so we're going to take this little beauty, see how handy that stem is, and set it here. I've got a silicone lined mat that's just sitting here, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to fix these up, and then we're going to get ready to dip these beauties. Alrighty, I just got finished rolling all of these, and I did end up with 23 with stems, and then I had 10 of them that either had really tiny stems or no stems at all, so I did these without stems. So I have a total of 33. When you're rolling them, be sure that they are completely covered, and for the ones with the stems, be sure that you seal them completely up to the top, because as the sugar kind of begins to dissolve over time, you don't want the sugar to start leaking out of the top of it. So I'm gonna let those sit at the side for just a minute. And I've got a pot over here. I'm trying to get it to warm and almost a boil, and then I'm going to turn it down. And then I'm going to create a double boiler here. So I've got a little pot that I'm going to set on top. All right, as our water is beginning to come to a boil, I'm going to take, and this is dark melting wafers. This is 10 ounces. And I'm going to put this into my bowl here. And I'm also going to add some coconut oil. This does need a fat to help it melt well. You can use butter if you want, but I am going to use coconut oil. All right, so let me get this in here. And then as our water begins to boil, we're just going to simply put this over our pot, and it's kind of got a nice simmer. I'm going to turn it down to low and allow the chocolate to melt, and then we'll be right back to dip. Now our chocolate is melted nicely, and we'll take it off the heat. I'm going to leave the warm pot just in case it sets up and I need to add it back. But we've got a nice smooth consistency, so I'm going to let it cool just for a little bit as I'm stirring it, because I don't want the sugar here to melt as soon as I put it in. And likewise, as we add the coconut oil, it'll just give it a nice sheen over the top, as will using the melting chocolates. Now, I know somebody's probably asked, can I use chocolate chips? Yes, you can, but chocolate chips will tend to have a fat separation, and that's when you get like a little white film that comes over your chocolates. That's why a lot of times you will either use half and half baking melting chocolates and chocolate chips, or just melting chocolate. Again, we're just letting this sit just for a little bit to cool down. Alrighty, we've cooled down for just a bit, and I'm going to do the stemmed cherries first, because obviously these are the easiest. So we're just going to take these and roll these around, and you can see how easy this will be. Let the excess drip off, and I'm going to blot just a little bit and put it back here to dry. I'm going to continue to do all of the stemmed ones in the same way. And again, like I said, it's just a preference if you want the stems or you don't. But dipping with the stems is so much easier. Now, before I go through the rest of them, I'm going to show you how I'll dip the ones that do not have a stem. So I'm going to put these on a fork. And I like this because it'll drip through. I'm going to use my spatula. And I don't want to put it in there because I don't want it to fall off. I'm just going to dip like this. And then I'll dip with the fork so I get some on the bottom as well. And then slowly, using the other fork, press it off so you can see. Hopefully you can see that. Now it is a little bit messier on your mat, and I'm using a silicone baking mat. You could use parchment paper, so forth. Either is fine because we just need these to set up at this point. So I'm going to go through and dip the rest of them, give them an opportunity to set, and then we're going to dive into these and taste them. All right, our chocolate covered cherries have been cooling for several minutes so that our chocolate will set. And I'm going to pull this one. Look at that pretty. And I'm going to cut into it so you can see what the center looks like. I think I cut right. Look at that. It's our chocolate covered cherries. We have our chocolate, our center, and our cherry. Now, if you like your cherries with a little bit more liquidy center, this sugar will start to dissolve after several days or a week, or even up to 2 weeks, and it will become more and more liquidy over time. So depending on the consistency that you like it, time will determine that. Now there is a product, I believe it's called Inverse, that you can add that will take the sugar and start to liquefy it quicker. If not, you can just let it occur naturally. But let's have our beautiful chocolate covered cherries that you can make in time for gift giving for the holidays. I'm Stephanie, and this has been Steph's Stove, where today we made chocolate covered cherries. Perfect for the holiday season. Because I cut one into one earlier when I showed the inside, and now I get to eat it. Those are delicious. Now personally, I like the solids a little bit more solid, the center. But again, if you want them more liquidy, after they sit for several days, even a week or two, that sugar will, when you cut into it, will just kind of ooze out, like some of the Queen Anne chocolate covered cherries and so forth. So remember, give us a thumbs up, click that subscribe button for more great content like this. Steph's Stove, we're making memories, one dish at a time. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great evening and a Merry, Merry Christmas.